Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information Man
Tell
Show.
the truth. Tell the truth.
Do you want truth?
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
If you don't want truth, this is not the channel for you.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
Yes. Truth.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
In the White House, I'm not gonna say his name. Jack Lake Preachers.
Tell the truth.
If you want truth,
Tell the truth.
the Information Show is the place for you. Truth.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make
We're
sure
trying to examine, open up one's mind, and understand the shit that's happening in American society and around the world. Information Man Show. We got to ring the bell to wake the world up.
Information is
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Yes. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
In the White House, I'm not gonna say his name.
We will make America great again.
You need truth.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
That's right. Truth. This is Okay, everybody, this is the Information Man Show. Welcome. We're going to be talking about, man, it's going to be good today because we know that Father's Day is around the corner. This is Father's Day weekend. And So I hopefully a lot of brothers that I've sent some links to will come on board. I've got BMT right now. We're going to talk about what Father's Day means to us as black men. It's about controlling our image. It's about not allowing the narrative in the larger society to dictate what it is to be a black father. And we want to bust some of the myths because a lot of people think that black men in this society are not in the lives of their children. And that is quite not completely true. So I put some links out to a couple other brothers that hopefully will come on through. Brother Moses, if you're out there, Brother Prophet of Thought, George Macomb was going to be on today, but he's out there in Philadelphia, on the streets of Philadelphia. He's got his camera out there, so he's out there with people that are protesting, getting their opinions about things. The Ghost, I sent Brother Jay Speed a link not too long ago, so hopefully he'll come on board, and I see him there. And I just want to have a discussion. Brother Moses, I hope he comes on board. I got D. Durrell, who I've sent a link out to. And then I have one of my own brothers, fraternity brother, Brother Laurel Dean. I've sent him a link, and I hope that he can come on through. He may be having some technical problems. Let me say peace to everybody out there, too, who's listening on the Facebook page to my show. And we're going to get this going. Let me put the Ghost himself, Jay Speed, on board with us. And first of all, let me give these brothers a much-needed clap for being here. All right. All right. We got Brother BMT and OG J Speed on board with us. How you brothers doing today?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me on info?
Yeah, I got you. Sounding real good. Sounding real good.
I'm doing okay. Can you hear me? I need the kid down or something.
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. Sounds good. I'm glad to have you all on board. I'm waiting. We're just gonna get started here. There's other brothers that are gonna come on board. I think I'm gonna send Brother Art. Matter of fact, I'll send Brother Art a link as well in just a moment. So BMT, you are a father yourself. I'm a father myself. And I just want to get brothers' perspectives, this whole thing we call Father's Day. What does it mean? What is the relationship you have with your kids? What is the relationship you had with your own father? So I just want to get your brothers' perspectives on. And let me start with what our veteran here, Brother Jay Speed. Brother, what is your experiences?
Well, I'm a father of 5, and ranging from 44 to 21. I got four boys, and I got one young lady who's 21. My oldest son, I taught or tried to instill in all my children that if you ain't married, then I don't want to see no children coming in the house. And my oldest son is 45. He's not married, and he don't have any children. And my daughter, who's 21, she's still, her mother checks her out. And I don't want to be like my boy in Atlanta, but she checks her out. She's still a virgin. She has never had a boyfriend. And
Wow.
I raised all my children to look for potential husbands or wives, not for boyfriends. And my father was an inspiration in my life, my first hero, who had me at 50 years old. We had a good experience. He didn't talk as much as me because he come from that year of 1909, where fathers just said exactly what needs to be said, and that was it. And my experience with my father, I never was spanked from my father. He never spanked any of the children. And my mother was a disciplinary. My grandmother and my aunt was a disciplinary, but my father never put any violence on his children. We had a good experience, and he taught me a lot of things growing up throughout my life. And I appreciate Father Day the whole year. I do celebrate it on that one certain day, but I follow up. I do have some of my children, we had some estranged relationship. I raised two of my children single father, and with the help of their mothers, because I never count them out. They was all sent back to their mother by the age of 12, so they could get that balance of life, and that's pretty much where I'm at now.
That's an area that I want to touch on, because there's a lot of black men out here who are literally single fathers. A lot of times you have women that will define themselves as a single mother, even when there is the father of the child involved in the child's life. Maybe they're dual parent. I'm in a dual parenting situation. I was married for 15 years. I've been divorced almost 13 now. And I'm involved in my child's life every step of the way. She's here with me today. And so you have a lot of women, some women, who often call themselves single mothers, when in fact there is a father, a black man, a black father, who is indeed in the life of their child every step of the way. But that's the narrative that does not normally get painted. And we all know what how child support can impact us. And we'll touch on that today. So I thank you for what you said, brother. I totally agree with you full heart. I got to pick your brain some more, because raising 5 kids, you have a wealth of experience. Brother BMT, come on board, brother. Introduce yourself. You are a family man as well.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Peace to the panel. Yeah, I'm a father of 4 children, and I guess other children I have under my belt that I do raise is 9 others. So, um, but I have 4 biological children.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much I am in I came up during the era of the father becoming absentee. I came up in the absentee era of fathers starting to become absentee. Either they were pushed from the home, they left the home, or they were taken out. So I got to see a lot of stuff, and I guess in my eyes or in my hindsight, um, I understand my purpose is it's a gambit as to my life is not my own. It belongs, and I'm at peace with that. You know what I'm saying? I have a family. I have a family. I have a wife, and I have children. I'm pretty open and transparent about my family, because I feel like that's something that needs to be seen. That's not shown enough, especially on YouTube, is a black family, and especially a successful black family. And I try to go hard, showing and producing good works. And we understand that with said narratives, media, and talking points that we hear out here these days, it's a battle every day for me to keep my home strong, especially with the way how 2020 has been going. I have
Mm-hmm.
stood out there. I work along with the school, the community, as well as different other affiliated programs and associations. So that way, um, my work is never done.
Right.
And my son always asks me, Dad, why you work so hard? Why don't you? I said, because I work because so that way when it's time for you and your brother and your sister to come, um, y'all won't have to work as hard. It'll be all on y'all. I can sit down and rest. I do have a relationship with my father. Me and him talk. We come from a long line of Geechee Gullah men and women, and so family is is one of the bedrock core foundations of the nation. And so that is literally something that the family we pass down tradition to tradition. And sometimes I try to tell men the importance of getting having a family, and take don't just impregnate the woman, take the woman under your arm, and and y'all follow under a guidance of a star program, of goals, because understand that nowadays it's getting harder for a man, and he's going to need a partner
Right.
to help him compass his way through life. And his children, and I could tell a lot of y'all brothers and men that um, having a child does not slow you down. I don't know why we have these negative narratives that having a child or family slow down a black man. It does not. If anything, it's one of our ambitious goals is to build a legacy, a kingdom. And so it is never a shameful thing. It's literally the one thing that society has always tried to strip from us, our legacy. So being a father on Father's Day, and that's right around the time of my birthday, it's a time where I sit down and I reflect with my children. You know what I'm saying? I reflect with them and I talk with them. And I tell them why I do what I do and why I love them, and I always go over life lessons with them. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely willing to sit down with the brothers and have the said conversation.
Well, BMT, what you said, and D Darrell should be coming on pretty soon. There's a few other brothers that may swing by. I sent Art a link as well. You said something that was very crucial, and I need to pick both your brains about this. There's been a narrative on YouTube in which you have some brothers who believe that you've heard it, BMT. If you want to have a child, just go and get yourself a surrogate female to have a child. Don't waste your time with marriage or getting yourself entangled with women, because as a man, you should be building yourself up, focusing on yourself and things that you want out of life. And to be quite honest, as a man, you can do those things and still be a family man, because I've seen with my own personal eyes brothers who exemplify all the things that you hear cats talking about on YouTube. They travel, they've got money, they've got business, they've got a lot of things. And the one thing that they've done that's intelligent, because a lot of people say, oh, you're going to lose all your money, is they've set themselves up in a situation before they got married where they wouldn't lose all of their wealth. I think a lot of brothers don't understand that there's things that you can do to set yourself up to protect yourself if there's an unfortunate divorce situation. But family is the basics of everything. And for
Yes.
those that are who have criticism about family, it was family that brought them into life in some cases, man and father. And maybe sometimes you may have the father that's there, and there's cases where you don't have the female there. That's one thing that never gets talked about is you have females or women out here who have abandoned their children as well and left them on a man to take care of. But nobody talks about that. It's usually just men are the ones that run out on women. I know brothers personally who took complete custody of their children because the mother was just not fit. And they don't whine and cry about it. They just deal with it. They raise their kids because they love their children.
That happens a lot. And again, I know of a young man. He is 22 years old, and his baby mother said that she did not want the child.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, if you just give me my child, I won't ever bother you. This 22-year-old man, he's doing everything. He has a 2-bedroom apartment for just him and his child. And I've seen some days I see him pushing that carriage with that child. I've seen him come bring the child to school, and he gets help from a few of the ladies in the community on how to do certain things for his child. There are men that are out there, and I hate the narrative that there's no community to support a man and his child. That is one of the ugliest rumors that we consistently hear throughout here, that men don't care about the community. That it is something in my heart that always hurts, because I know more men that are not the biological father that have stepped up and helped children that are not even their children. Because it is innately in the black man to want to see at times a child make it. Because if that child makes it, then that means my legacy of my skills will possibly go on. So when I teach a child something and they can take that skill and go forth and use it, whether it be arithmetic, English, not just some set sports, but actually stuff that can actually push the child forward, then I did my part. And we got to get rid of these said narratives that black men we don't want to be there to push and see our children go forward, or just any child go forward. I could care less what men or women may think of me when I feed a child that is not mine. That I'll put on some shoes on a child that's not mine. I've been called it all. It don't bother me because I am enacted in my very well nature of who I am as a father and as a man. This is the nature, and this is one of the things about it, that when our children or our people were separated, there was a man alongside with that woman looking out for that family. And that it wasn't always by blood or marriage. It was just he just knew that they needed my shelter and my protection. And so we see it now where there's said entities of a media and agenda and talking points that are trying to talk men out of their blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spit on that, and I tell men that go get what's yours, raise your child, and stay faithful to your belief of doing what's right. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand as a father, and then we all can talk about this. We all don't need a thank you. Like I don't know why they all say I ain't received. That's not my job as a daddy to get a thank you. Listen, I had times I've done so many things, and as a man, I don't mind sitting in the background. I don't mind being in the background because as long as I know that they're going there, I'm supposed to be the foundation. You don't see that when the house is finished. Do you see the foundation? No, you just see the house. But the foundation, right, is holding up the house. See, some fathers, they just forgot their role. They want to be in the limelight like a woman. This is not my job. I don't care for that. I care to be the foundation on which my children and my woman stand on.
Right.
So they can rise up. That's my entity of who I am as a man.
Right. BMT, you are 100% on point. 100% on point. Let me go ahead and introduce. We have two incredible brothers that have just come on board. I think Jay Speed has just come back. He said he was going to be gone for 5 minutes, and now he's popped back in. But we got D. Darrell, who is a therapist like myself and a father. And we have my fraternity brother of many years, my man Laurel Dean out of the Bay Area. Peace to this brother. I want to give these brothers a clap for being here because this is a very important discussion. And let me just say this. D. Darrell, thank you for coming on board. Brother, I'm glad you're here. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have D. Darrell say some words, and then I'm gonna go over to my man Laurel Dean, my frat brother, to let him, because he's a father. He's a brother that is 100% dedicated to raising his son. He is involved in the community. I believe, brother's involved in 100 Black Men. This brother is community based, and I'm telling you, me and this brother have been on those streets out there. Doing some of the things that I've been preaching to you folks about over the years. D. Darrell, let me start with you, brother. The title is just what it is, brother. It's what does Father's Day mean to Black men? You are a father. Once again, it's about changing the narrative, pushing our narratives, and not allowing other people to define who we are and what we are. Brother, take it away from there.
Okay, appreciate you for having me on, and I'd like to say hi to everybody on the chat. Hope y'all having a good day. I like to say, Father's Day for me is in my sense, the way I look at it is the way I look at it in regards to my own father. I didn't really understand as a kid the value of having a father until I became an adult. When I look at this, I look at the things that my dad did in regards to being a man, being a father to us, because he spent a lot of time working a lot. And the time that he did spend with us, it was quality time. And his whole thing was, and what he reinforced to me was part of being a father. You can't make excuses. You have to have a strong work ethic. You have to be a leader. You have to be consistent. You have to be a decision maker. And at the same time, for Father's Day, for me, the happiness that I have and the happiness that my dad saw for Father's Day was the fact that his family was intact. His family was happy. His happiness didn't come directly from what he considered happiness from himself. He was happy based on what he saw in the status of his family being happy and functioning. So he got gratification in knowing that he was a leader in his household and providing that he has a family, a strong family, a family that's productive, a family that's not doing negative things, that's unstable, a family that is faith-based for him. That was very important to him. And so for myself, I look at it very similar. Um, I look at it from the perspective of my role. And I'm not looking, kind of alluding to what BMT talked about as far as having the admiration of validation from others. I don't need validation from others. I do appreciate my children. I got two adult young women and one son that's a teenager. He's 14. But the fact of the matter is that they understand my role and they understand the influence that I have on their life. And through my kids, that's my gratification to know that they have acquired the information and knowledge and teachings and value system that I have taught them, and they're applying it to everyday life. That's my level of gratification. And so for me, I look at it through my kids, look at it through, as far as through my kids, what they're doing and so forth. And being a father, what people have to understand is that, I know as in previous years on social media and so forth, I can already see on Monday coming up, there are going to be people on Facebook and women. There's going to be all kind of content about women, people looking at it from like women disrespecting Father's Day and saying that happy Father's Day to myself and things like that. I tell for the real men who are really holding me down as a father, that type of content and those attitudes has no relevancy in your life. You know what you're doing. You know the position that you have influenced on kids, and also being a father doesn't allude to the fact that there are other kids, other young men in your community that also look at you in a certain way. It's not just limited to the fact of you being a father to your children, but there are other kids that are fatherless that look at you, that want to model you and see the things that you're doing. There are women that look and see that and would like their kids to be in the midst of a man that can be a positive influence on their children, particularly their black males. One of them, particularly at one of my practices and one of my locations in Houston, I have basically the majority of the clientele that I have is young to middle-aged black women that struggle finding a black male therapist for their sons or for their families. And part of that is that, and I know I'm saying, as far as in the realm of being a therapist, you're looking at things and you're in a therapeutic environment and you're under that status, so to speak. But they want that strong masculine presence, and that's what good fathers show. Good fathers naturally bring that strong male presence effortlessly, and it has a very positive effect on the males and also the females. And I think that due to the status that we know, we do have a lot of single mothers in our community, and that even shows the benefit. And a lot of those single mothers are in less I would say less desirable situations. And in that, with that being said, by that occurring, it shows even more the value and the power of having a strong black man or a male presence or a black father that would be involved. Because with having that black father involved, it makes everything easy, and it makes everything better. And also the probability of things going in the positive for those particular children, those offspring, particularly those black males, it substantially increases them to being less at risk to doing negative things. So
Okay.
I say to all black men, I'd be the first one to pat a black man on the back saying, "Hey man, you're doing a good job. I know it's not tough. I know it's not easy. Being a father can be a very taxing job. It can be very stressful because at the end of the day, that family is dependent on you, and you're the pretty much where the buck stops. You know, as far as um, the long-term functioning of that household and where things are going, and planning for that. So, um, as far as like my kids, matter of fact, my oldest daughter asked me earlier this week, hey, what would you like for Father's Day and stuff like that? And I told her, really, I already have what I want. I have my kids. Y'all in good health. Y'all doing productive things. My son, he's active in sports and other different activities. My daughters, they're doing their thing. They're in their careers, and they're working and doing stuff positive and so on. I have what I want already. I said, now if you choose to give me some materialistic thing or whatever, I mean, I really don't care for that. But if you choose to do that, it's fine. But the fact of the matter is that you're not on drugs, okay? You're not out doing, you're not in gangs, you're not on drugs, you're not committing crimes, you're not doing immoral things in the community or on social media. Your character is intact. I mean, I have everything I need in regards to you all are living proof of that I did a decent job as a father. So that's my gift.
Wow. 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 There's so much to unpack today. Let me go over into my man Laurel Dean. Are you there, brother? Unmute yourself. Are you there, brother? Welcome to the Information Man Show, brother. First time on air. And like I said, we're gonna do the 1-to-1 frat. Let everybody know exactly who you are, some of the activities, some of the things that you've been involved in on them streets in terms of the community activism that you've been involved in, and the fact that you are a strong father. Break it down, brother D.
Well, first off, thank you for having me, brothers. Happy Father's Day to you brothers first. Um, I grew up.
Salute.
I grew up in San Francisco at a time where uh, it was a strong black community. Juneteenth was in the city. It was an annual holiday. A lot of black businesses. A lot of leaders. But also at the same time, I grew up in a time where drugs were heavy. I grew up in a time where gang violence was at an all-time high. Uh, me and brother Clinton, we actually grew up in the same neighborhood. So if I'm not mistaken, brother Clinton, you were by KPOO, and
Right, right,
that was our local. That was our neighborhood radio station. That's like we didn't listen to
right,
nobody else. Like we got our news. Sometimes we got our news from KPOO before we went on the local network.
right,
But
right, right. I don't often get on YouTube and brag about a lot of that stuff. Like we grew up in a rough neighborhood at a rough time in San Francisco, in a particular neighborhood that we were in, the Fillmore. We know people in Hunters Point,
yeah,
Betrayal Hill, all those areas, man. A lot of times people think that, when you get on these platforms like this, that you just had some privileged life, man. We've been through a lot. We've seen a
yeah,
lot. Continue
yeah.
though, brother. What you were saying. I just want to say that we've seen a lot of stuff, man.
Well,
Shit, man.
just piggybacking off what brothers are talking about. I think in this particular time and era for us, we didn't have a role model, a black man in the house. We didn't have what they call the nuclear family. So you had your uncles, you had your grandfather, you had the neighbor down
Mm-hmm.
the street, the maintenance man, whoever it was that was someone who just was very confident but showed a level of righteousness. You always gravitated to. When I saw a lot of people, a lot of family members die through gang violence, and I was an athlete, and it just sparked me to know that as a man, um, when I get older, when I get wiser, I get more mature. The life I'm living right now, I'm going to learn from that, so my son does not have to go through it. So, with that being said, I've been fast forwarding up to now because I don't want to get my life story like that. For the last 30 plus years, I've been in some form of youth development, working in after school programs, at risk youth programs around addiction, alcohol, drugs with youth. Uh, I have worked in several group homes, and the most important thing, like I said, my biggest lesson was that I knew I wanted to be a strong black man and a role model, not only to my peers but to my community. And it just prompted me to stay more focused when I had relatives going to jail, selling drugs around me, doing what have you. I just stayed the course because my dad was a product of that, and when he was a product of it, when he finally got out of jail, his biggest passion was horses. And it just took him back to when he grew up in a rural area of Tennessee. He still, sorry, still was you see me? Okay. He
Yeah, we
just
can see you.
it got
We
him
can
to
see
be
you.
on a proper path. It got him to be a role model for himself, not so much for me. And so that was one of the catalysts that prompted me to be more of a good brother in the community. So yeah, I've worked in my community all over San Francisco for over, like I said, 30 plus years. I've been a youth development specialist for over 30 plus years. I'm continuously giving back to my community. I'm a member of the 100 Black Men of the of America Bay Area chapter. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, the first African American fraternity ever created in this nation. Uh, and it's not enough. It's not enough. I'm always a brother that's willing to contribute. I'm proud to have a 17-year-old young man who has good grades, cocky as heck, very confident, but he's still learning. And so we still butt heads as elder to youth. But I think the most ironic thing about it, and maybe you brothers can agree to disagree, is that in all your babies, you see you. You see a mirror of you. There's a certain behavior, a certain reaction that's something that triggers your past. And that's one of the biggest gifts I have of being a father. That my son reminds me of some of the lessons I've learned through the past. And I can go to him and be like, "No, son, don't go to the left, go to the right. No, son, that's not going to work like that." And he'll be defiant. But as much as my son trusts me, he listens. And so I still coach basketball. So like I said, I still work with youth. So I'm always contributing, working with youth. So my main focus is just being a good man, a good father, and a role model, not only to my peers but to myself. And I'm always growing and learning. So I'm just blessed to be on this on this show today and to be around solid, strong brothers uh,
Let me ask you
right
this
now.
question.
I think
Let me
right
ask
now
you
is
the
a
let,
yeah.
so,
I mean,
let
I'm
me ask you.
sorry, my fault.
No,
I'm
it's
shell
okay.
shocked a little bit. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay, brother. Let me ask you this question as I'm gonna flip over to the other brothers on the panel. Let me ask you this question specifically. Growing growing up in the neighborhood in the area that we were in, because I go back, man, I go back all the way back to the Pink Palace. Remember the Pink Palace? We used to throw
Yeah,
people off of it, but that's a whole nother story.
yeah.
Um, how has that upbringing and things that you experienced and that you saw in your own experiences, and like you said, you saw people, we've seen people lose their life. How has that impacted in the way you raise your son, given the fact that unfortunately we've seen what has happened to George Floyd, Rashad Brooks, how black men in this society, as we walk down the street, uh, any and everything could possibly happen to us.
That's a good question. Um, I think we all came up in a point where we wanted to show positive reinforcement and affirmations to our children. Show them we're going to be there for them. Show confidence. Um, I grew up. I grew up in a neighborhood that was like Vietnam. The moment you woke up was survival mode, and if you made it in your house and you were able to wake up for the next day, that was the true gift. You know, I think a brother said I think a brother just said not too long ago. You know, hey, what do you want for Father's Day? Um, and I used to ask my dad the same question. Hey, you know, Father's Day coming up, what you want? He said, I just want to spend time with you. I just want to make sure I see you. I want to make sure you see tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've had to become brutally honest with my son. And he's, like I said, he can be a defiant one. Like, I know that, I know. That's what all these kids say. But we had a fast track education and survival. And our children right now are getting a portion of that same kind of education where it's not tomorrow's not guaranteed. It wasn't guaranteed when we were their age. And for us to survive past 18, 21, 25, 30, and beyond, uh, you have to be brutally honest with your kids. I tell my son every day, hey, I love you, but this world's not built for you. You have to find your niche. When you find your niche, always, stay positive in what you do and how you do it, but also make sure you're not harming other people, in what you do. Your word is all you have. Your name is all you got, and you want to make sure that name and that word is of value.
Mm-hmm.
And I preach that to my son all the time.
Right.
He has a girlfriend. Hey, young brother, you got condoms? Oh man, I don't. Hey man, we're at a level now with our youth that uh, we have to be honest, but also we have to
Mm-hmm.
keep our position of who we are as parents.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes in the last few decades, we've seen our peers become steadily in a gray area of friend or parent. And
Mm.
I remind my son that I love him. I remind my son that I'm proud of him. I remind my son every day that you are a black man in America, and your survival depends uh, is important from the time you wake up to the time you get back in bed, and he knows
Mm.
that. So
Wow.
that sense of survival now, what me and you grew up in, Brother Clinton, is not at one point in time was not relevant. It was just make sure you survive. You're a young kid. I gotta make sure you see the child care and everything. But the older they get, the more honest, brutal honesty you have to have with your child.
Mm-hmm.
And in light of everything right now, um, I am more aware, and because I've always been aware, but I'm more aware and I'm more conscious of my son's well-being than I ever have been before. And it's to a point where he's a man now. 17
Mm-hmm.
years old, the world sees you as a grown man. So
Mm-hmm.
now you need to start preparing for grown man lessons and rules. And we do that every day. So no matter what, remember, you're a young man in training. And no matter what, protect yourself at all times because life is like boxing.
Right.
So that's what
Look,
I teach my son every day.
brother, let me stop you right there because I want to bring the ghost Jay Speed back in. This is a black man. He's our elder statesman on the panel. He's got 5 kids that he has raised into adulthood. Um, Let me ask you this question. This goes to you specifically, brother. You've been on YouTube. You see the atmosphere that's put out there. How people are saying that family is underrated, or it appears that brothers are saying this. Some brothers, not all. I'm not going to indict everybody. But what is your opinion about that narrative that we often hear on these platforms? That black man, save yourself. You know that mantra that's going on around here now. Save yourself. Shit. I've already saved myself. I don't need someone to tell me to save myself. But what is your thoughts?
Well, one of the things I like to say to all the young fathers out there, or the ones who's
Mm-hmm.
coming to fatherhood, is fatherhood don't come with a blueprint. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we see. I've been in this game so long that you got to understand that when you've been in this game long, you go through a trial and error period. And one of the things I don't hear in YouTube is they don't understand, and understanding is underrated. It's really is underrated
Okay.
because a lot of things that people do, and they think they are reacting to just the surroundings of their experience and what's going on in the world. But it's a deeper level that you go have to understand, and it's something you won't learn in psychology. Something you won't learn in anything that mastery of the mind and the brain is something that you go have to figure it out. And I'm gonna bring something to this panel that probably I hope that a lot of people haven't thought about it, but this takes experience and it takes wisdom to understand it. I don't know how many of your brothers and sisters who might be listening to this panel and understanding that everything has a memory. If you ever really looked at the experiment that water has a memory, that's a good video. Just Google it, and it has about an hour presentation about how water has a memory. Well, let me tell you something
Wow.
else.
It's very interesting, very powerful.
Let me tell you something else has a memory. Your blood has a memory. Your DNA has a memory. And so a lot of times brothers think they are dealing with things that it's in the world, but it's already in that child's DNA and it's already in your DNA. And that memory is there. It just got to be awakened. And sometimes it's awakened and you don't know why your children are responding in a certain way. You think it's because of the world, but it's in the DNA. Let's just go back into, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but just let's go back to when we was enslaved. When we was enslaved, a lot of brothers was broken. They used to have a name where they had people who went around this United States and men that wouldn't listen, men who would always run away and stuff like that. Before they start cutting off limbs, they would use this man to break them. And they wouldn't break them like they would break a horse. They would break them in a way that would takes away their masculinity. They would actually have sex with these men in public forums.
Right. But yeah, breaking.
Right. And so
Bug breaking.
not only that, but mothers and sons was forced to have sex when the plantation owner didn't have enough money to go out and buy other slaves. And so you had all this kind of crazy stuff going on. You had slave owners who was having sex. They was pedophiles then to little boys. You had the housewife because they had leisure time. So when the slave owner would leave, his wife would come down and make love to little boys. So you got to understand that a lot of things you think you might be experiencing, and it's about the world, but it's not. It's about the memory in your DNA. It's about the memory in your blood, and that's what you up against, Black people. And people don't really talk about this because they don't know about it. And I'm hoping that I can open a forum and talk about this memory in your blood and the memory in your DNA that people say, well, what are you talking about? Okay, let me tell you what memory is. How in the hell do you think you look like your mother and your father if your DNA didn't have memory? How do you think you have the characteristics of your mother and father if it's not in your blood? That's memory.
Right.
You know, everything has memory. And I don't hear nobody talking about this. It's been something I've been studying for the last 10 years. So let's just get back to the question at hand.
No. That's very powerful what you just said, brother. The memory, because my daughter looks like a splitting image of her mother. And I've been saying this for a while that we don't really die. We transition to another level of our spirit, and we leave our DNA, our genes, and memory in every generation. So how can we actually be gone when our spirit lives on in our children, our family, and we almost like recreate ourselves through our children? They're like almost a clone of us. My daughter looks like a complete clone of her mother. When I look at her, I'm like, damn, she looks just like her mother. Even has a matter. Myself, my father wasn't in my life a lot, J Speed, and my mother would tell me, a lot of my family would tell me, you have mannerisms like the way you eat, the way you talk, you move your hand. So you're
Right.
absolutely
That's
right.
memory when you have two twins who was separated at birth, and both was raised by different parents, and they both like the same thing. They both like the same kind of music. They both do some of the same things in life, but they never have any contact other than coming through the birth canal in the 9 months they was in the womb. So this is really a level of mental understanding what human beings are. And you are correct when you say they trace back the blood line of every human being, and it has traces of the first man. And so
Wow.
that carries on in the genes. And see, this is what makes my conversation so much different than a lot of other people conversation, and they think I might be babbling or I just be talking. You got to understand, when you are spirit connected until who you are as a present on this earth, you are a God on this earth. And I know that can be blasphemy for most people in their religion, but if you really understand your religion, it was based on keeping a structure and keeping you in line. But there's something greater than any religion, and that is you are God on this planet. And when you understand that, you don't, when brothers say they really don't care about or what the lady do, and they just want their children, they don't understand that they're really hurting that child growth, their mental growth, their spiritual growth, and the spiritual connection that child will have to see you in a relationship, even with the mother, how you handle different situations. If that child don't see how you handle different situations, even when y'all are at fighting, that child will grow up not know how to handle situations, even in his relationship or her relationships. So it's very unique where people go and just keep pushing these talking points, but not really understanding exactly the spiritual being and the memory of the human being. There's a lot of brothers out there right now who have never been molested by a man, but they've been molested by a woman. And we as men, we look at that different, but we don't know how that offset the mental capacity of that child in the future. Even being molested by a woman at the time he shouldn't been in any kind of sexual activity, it gives him a different mindset. So I see a lot of these brothers who are on these different panels, and I can just listen to them for about 10 or 15 minutes, and I don't have to go through no structural education of learning how the brain or the mind work. Let me tell you something, it's already in my DNA. Everything that you can think of, everything you can think that has ever been done is already in your DNA. You just got to learn how to tap into it, because you got to ask yourself, who was the first doctor who gave him the degree? Who was his first parent and gave him the degree? Who was the first anything and gave him his degree? So this is just passed on information that was already in someone's DNA and blood, because it does have memory. And I think we go in the near future, we're going to have to change the way we think. We're going to change the talking points. We're going to have to go to a higher level of vibration where we can understand who we are, what we are, and what we're supposed to represent, because we try to let other people who try to shape us and give this narrative to us what we're supposed to be. We're still in the frameworks of what I would call the system of white supremacy. And some people say it's not visible or it's not real or they don't care about it. You better care about it, because it has an impact on you, your child, and how you look at the world.
Right. Let me just say, hey, you were on point on that. Everything that you said, I was feeling all of it. It was very powerful. Before we move forward, I've had a few people that super chatted me. Sister G, let me thank her for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
And then Brother D. Anderson super chatted me. Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat.
And there was someone else, I believe, that super chatted me. But everybody, this is Irene Smith that I have on the screen here. She says, happy early Father's Day. I absolutely love this woman's channel and love what she does. Everybody in the chat room, check her out. She actually gives you, she has a great channel, and she talks about how you can improve your channel and all the different things that you can use when streaming live. She tells you all the different bells and whistles and tools that you can. If you're a podcaster, she podcasts as well. She gives you information about how you can develop your podcast and different links and different apps that you can use to market and be creative within streaming and in social media. So everybody definitely write her name down and go over and check her channel out and subscribe to her channel. She's a pleasant sister, has great energy. She's on all different platforms. Just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady. Great energy. She's got a channel that's going places, and she gives you all the tips that you need, everything that you can imagine when it comes to streaming, social media, podcasting, managing all your platforms, all the different bells and whistles, all the new tools. She even does reviews on different softwares that you can use when you're just everything. She's a hotbed of information. So please give her some love and go over and check out her channel and subscribe. Thank you for coming over today.
I just like to pick it before you move forward.
Go ahead, brother.
For you young men and young women who are out there who might be listening to this, I'm 60 years old, getting ready to turn 61. And I've been out there on the ground level all the way back in the KJL, Stevie Wonder station, Carl Nelson, Brother Jamal, from The Good Life. And we brought some of the most prominent people to town to speak to us on all different types of levels. But one of the things I want you to understand, when you start making old people obsolete, you might be missing out on your blessing. Because if someone makes some mistakes in life and someone else could have gave you counsel and you had a choice of making that mistake versus not knowing about that mistake, there's two different ways you can look at it. So when people try to make things obsolete, let me tell you something right now that you never thought of. You'll never make a God obsolete. And if you start looking at yourself as God, the image of God who breathed in your nostrils, as Christianity say, which I'm not a Christian or a Muslim or anything. I use the holistic way approach of life, the first element of what we are, by looking at nature itself and embracing nature itself. That's where you get your education with your memory. You got to understand this. No old person is throwaway, expendable. That is better than any book could be on a shelf, because all books was written by men or women. That person has a knowledge that you can use in your life, could keep you from running into a train. And if anybody don't believe that this, and I want to say this, a happy Father's Day to all the brothers out there. If you don't believe that your life will be changed, let me tell you one thing would change your life. Whatever you might think about women or whatever you might think about relationship, have a damn daughter and see how your life changed. See, when I had all my sons was the first four. But when I had my daughter, it gave me another level of vibration that I didn't even consider till you start watching your daughter develop and start looking at little boys looking at her, and the way you thought about it, the way that you carried yourself as a young man, and you was trying to implement things inside of her that she could be aware of what's out there in that world. Then you start to understand the full balance of what manhood is. My father's been passed away ever since 1994. My mother been passed away ever since 1996. So, but the experience that I had to have 18 siblings in my household, and my father, who didn't have any formal education, not even first grade, who supported us mentally, spiritually, and physically. And he used to drive all around this country and couldn't even read his name if I printed it out for him. He's one of them brothers who's assigned his name was X because he had no education, but he know geographic where he needed to go when he was driving that truck, and he didn't need to read. He just knew where he needed to go at. And so what I'm saying to you all people, that life is a lot more simple than you think it is. The problem is you're trying to use somebody else's education system to figure out who you are, who didn't have you as an importance in the first place to get you where you need to be at.
Would anybody like to touch on what the brother is saying? D. Durrell, are you still there? BMT, you haven't spoken in a while, brother. Anybody wants to
I'm
add
here.
anything
I'm
to
here.
the? Yeah, go ahead and add to anything you want to add to this discussion that we're having. I think the brother Ghost, he Jay Speed, he put it where the ghost could get it. I mean,
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna add Charlotte, and I'm gonna let everybody else get a chance. I don't want to hog the mic, but I think that he touched upon a lot in regards to the inability. I mean, not the inability, but the ability of us as a people to tap into our spiritual side. You know, a side within us that can't be measured, it can't be quantified, or anything like that. But we possess this, and this is something, being that we're melanated people, that makes us unique compared to other people in our history as a people, because we've always been a spiritual people. And even if you look at in the dawn of civilization, in the Nile Valley civilization, a lot of those buildings and a lot of the things that they did had a spiritual significance towards it. And so we've always had the ability to tap into things. We've always had the ability to have an innate sense of a higher sense of self, and we would, through our innate genius, it could surface itself in forms of culture and architect and mathematics and cosmology and all different things that we have given to the world. So there's definitely a lot of validity into that. I think that as people, as Brother OG talked about, we need to change our way of thinking, our way of doing things, tapping into those things, learning more about tapping into our spiritual side, and look, and in doing that, we will look at ourselves totally different. We will learn to value not only ourselves but also value each other.
Okay. Underrated Darkness, who's in the chat room, brother. If you want to come up and say a few words to the brothers, I'll put a link in specifically for you, and you can come on upstairs. Just let me know. And main event, let me say it's a few other people that gave me a super chat. Let me
Thank
that.
you
Thank you for the super chat. And I think the Origine gave me a super chat. If I said the name correct, I'm sorry if I didn't. If I did, but everybody that super chatted me in the room, I recognize that the folks were super chatting me. I just want to give you that respect. Once the conversation gets going, I'm listening what these brothers are saying. I don't want to cut in. I gotta let them say what needs to be said. Brother BMT, once again, brother, this is an example. BMT, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, now this is another example, brother. Why is it that we go through this every damn year, BMT? We're having a discussion where it's about black fathers. And you see, not a lot of people come over and listen to this content. I can do other content that's more polarizing, right?
Right.
Controversial content, and I get a whole heap of folks that come over here. But when we're talking about black fathers in our roles, in our narrative, a lot of folks don't like it. If we were over here talking about black women this and black women that and all this other nonsense and negative and giving off negative energy, well, there'll be a lot of folks that will want to peek in on that. See, this we have done this before, BMT, when you were talking about the school in South Carolina, the only all black male school run by black people that was getting ready to be no more, and we called out to everybody to support that, and many were called, but only few showed up. Go ahead, brother. While you're talking, I'm going to attend to my daughter doing my fatherly thing right now. Go ahead and talk, brother.
Yes, sir. And every brother was saying something of critical message from the oldest one to all of us. You gotta understand that we have been marginalized, and we have been berated to where it's a shameful thing, as some people say. They're like it's like if we look at it how it's being portrayed, the black man is all but just about absent. Seems like the only time that we get shown is when we're being chalked on the street, being made to look like thugs, being saying something of a negativity. And I understand that there's hardly that much of an imagery for us, though we fight that imagery. Heck, even YouTube with shadow ban if we talk about Black Father Day, because it's the connotation of being black and being a father. You know, only time they like to showcase us the most is when we're not dealing with our women and it's on some box of Cheerios or something else. And I ain't got nothing against none of the brothers or sisters that do that, but I'm saying that I mean I am my brother's keeper, and for those of us who try to hold the set standard, sometimes it gets hard to want to pick up the spear and go out and hunt. There's plenty of set opportunities, and one of the set opportunities is to build. We understand that a lot of things have happened to our people. And so when we talk about these set things and we talk about these things that are happening, and I always ask people when they talk about going out and finding resources or other cultures, and I always say, brother, you can always build your own culture. Granted, I mean, I came from a home that wasn't always intact or had said issues, and I'm sure that we've all had said things that we've been through as Brother Dean and Info and OG and D Darrell. We've all had our storm. But one thing that we knew that if we hold out and keep our eyes focused on the prize, that we can go ahead and build. I never had to tell my wife that she had to be submissive. I never had to go ahead and be a tyrannical ruler or anything of my household. I never had to say, well, I have to worry about other things outside. Like when you build your own culture, your own home, your own power within your own setting. See, I hear so many of these said narratives and stories that a man can't be the king of his castle. I'm like, that's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. The world likes to always show the negativity and failure of the black man. They will always show that you cannot control your situation, but we have 5 men on here today that literally we are the masters of our own fate. We ain't say it was easy, and we understand the arrows that have been shot at us. But here we still stand. And so I understand this is not the popular talk because some men and some women and some people wish that they had their father to wrap their arms around them and say, I love you. I love you, woman. I love you, child. But I understand that you have some brothers here today. We're still here. And the said narrative that we don't care, that's the devil. We still out here with we go by the school with the men and women with the men that go out there and talk and deal with women. With the men out here that actually go into the workplace and we try to bring home the bacon and we try to hold on to our black masculinity. And I always watch it how it's so easy for people to look for said holes in the boat. And I don't have time to keep running out there and fighting who I am in nature and being. I praise Brother Dean, Brother D Darrell, Brother Info, and I give the utmost respect to OG. Because it's not easy. Trust me, we've had some days where we would just want to stay in that bed. But we understand, especially with COVID going on, the black man has definitely been tried. We've all been trying to see. One thing about us was that we knew we could not just run. Because we knew that there were mouths that needed to be fed and people that were depending on. See, it's easy to make a child, but it's another thing when you can take care of your children. And you do it effectively to get to watch them grow up and respond and say, thank you, Daddy. Put some oatmeal on the goddamn in the bowl. Feed them. Read to them. Hold them when they're sick and stay up late at night and watch them over while they sleep.
That's right.
Nobody ever likes to. Everybody likes to talk about how they making bread, how they doing X, Y, and Z. That's not the top of our list. That's not. So that's why I say the nature of what is
Tell the
at
truth.
that of being the black father. That's why when I ask these men, what is it that you want, I
Tell the
always
truth.
listen. I always listen to what they say. My heart ain't. I don't be thinking about the sexual. That's why I agree with OG when he say, wait till y'all have a daughter. Wait till y'all have a son, and you're hoping that I hope I raise my son with enough wisdom to understand the sins of the world and how they're going to come at him as a black man. Y'all don't think we don't think about this? Y'all don't think we don't worry about when we see our kids go outside that door, whether they grown or not? I practically raised my younger brother. I know some young boys who are literally playing the man of the house when their mom would either be doped out, daddy got arrested, and they say, I ain't got no time to cry. I gotta help my little brothers and sisters get ready for school. I gotta get us on that bus, and I gotta go ahead and get through this day. The black boy ain't never had it easy coming in and being a man. So I understand the struggles that go on. And I told a lot of y'all men, I say thank you. It's definitely not gonna get any easier. Because now we have the narrative change where now they don't even want to show a card. They don't even want to show a card in Walgreens. That's a sin now. For me to go up and tell Info, I'm proud of you as a father, that's a shame. I even feel more bad that we have men that are scared to be stepfathers. Not because they don't love that woman, but they're more so ashamed that if I become a stepfather, what would the world think of me? Back then, there was no shame in being a stepfather back in the day. My dad told me that. I thought I had like 12 brothers and sisters. It's just that my daddy took care of them. They slept we all shared the same bed, played Nintendo, got dressed for
Tell the
church,
truth.
and did everything. But now we've seen it now where, oh wait, you a stepfather? Listen, y'all. Listen, man. We gotta understand there are entities out there. Everything else in society will shame you. But we gotta understand, man, that we got a lot of oppositions. There's a psychology game that's being played against us. We know that our children need us. And I'm not just talking about the children. We know that the women that see, and I'm going to tell you this right now, and all the men can tell you right now will just agree. Whenever the community or a woman sees a man interacting with children, they watch. They will watch.
That's true.
They will. That's why I never understood when people say, well, no. When women see a man that is literally within his nature, caring and taking time with the children, those women will watch that man and make sure, let him with the kids. Because they know that that's a dying thing that we need still. I watched a man at IHOP cradle and hold his child. And I said, brother, don't you give up. Happy Father's Day. And he's like, man, I'm just trying to get a job. I said, listen, bro. I slipped him a number. I said, if you get to this grocery store at this time, I promise you they'll hire you the same day. I went to that grocery store today, and guess what? I saw him there in khaki pants, pushing them carts in. We got to stop this narrative saying that a brother's not. When you see a brother trying, we got to uplift him, praise him. We'll praise anybody that's rapping, selling drugs, doggone, doing anything, making money, getting girls and all that stuff. But we don't praise the black father no more. I'm not looking for outsiders to praise me. I'm not looking for people that don't look like me to praise me. I'm not looking for society, YouTube, anything. I'm looking for my people like me to praise and uplift me and my brothers in this time. They don't mind uplifting everything else, but they damn sure will not praise this. I remember Info Man did it the first time. There wasn't that many people. It was only a few of us. And it was almost like we were having a private party talk. But I said, Info, every time you do this thing, for Father's Day, I will show up. I will keep on showing up. I did the Black Man's Conference, and I walk, and I'm proud of Brother Dean. Don't ever lose faith in what you're doing, brother. I know you'll have other men and women try to talk you out of it. Don't you ever stop.
Right.
I'm proud of D. Darrell. I have much faith in OG. I know he's always dropping wisdom. I may butt heads with him, but I definitely do have respect for him. And
I
Info
hear you,
Man, you
brother.
definitely have a heart and a soul for the people.
Oh, thank you, brother. Let me go ahead before we continue on. I got my man, my man Laurel Dean. He's on the move driving right now, but I want to get any thoughts that he wants to add as he's going out and doing what he has to do. Brother, unmute yourself. I know you going out and about, but if you got anything else you want to add, and by the way, I will get you on at some point for a 1-to-1 at some point down the line, brother. Can you hear? Unmute yourself. Did I mute you? Oh, there you go.
No, I'm right here. I've just been listening to the brothers.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know. Go ahead.
go
Go
ahead,
ahead, brother. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I will say that the last 20 minutes of what I've just heard, because I may have muted everybody and my picture hasn't been up, but I've been consciously paying attention. Everybody has said probably how I feel. What I will say to the brother, I agree with you when we are not revered, but the only time we are revered is when we pick up a ball or a bat or a football or a basketball, and we are revered by our strength, but not by our intelligence. We are admired by our finesse, but we are never, ever, 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 ever appreciated for our inventions. That's one thing. The funny thing about it is that I find role models in not necessarily in brothers, but in actions. I'm gonna take you way back. Now, if you're an old school head like myself, I may not look like it, but I am. There was a movie called Car Wash, and when you go back to Car Wash, it was what America was at the time. People of color, we struggling, we hustling, nickel and diming. We got the man on our neck. I'm fighting for a nickel, but his son wants to be us. His son admires us. His son reveres us and wants to become part of the culture. But he realizes through that one day,
Tell the truth.
through that one day, he will never, ever be a part of the culture. Because if you don't break down and take yourself out of the establishment that you were born into and really evolve and see the world for what it is, not behind your daddy's dollar or wallet, then you'll never evolve. So there was a brother. His name escapes me right now. Oh, Leon. So his name was Leon. Brother working hard, had a full beard. Worked his butt off. His children came to see him, made him pictures. I love you, Dad. Oh, I love you, baby. That was black love right there in that 1 5-second scene. Wow. That was the one thing from the 70s you kept and you instilled yourself to. Made it not to be afraid to grow your beard, grow your roots. I've been growing my roots out for the last 5 years, not because it's stylish, it's because it's my nature. It's my growth. It's my maturity. Every strand of hair here has a story. Every single strand. And sooner or later, every strand that you have here, you're showing your story. You're showing your truth. You're showing your wisdom. So I just wanted to go into that point and saying that to where we have your Michael Jordans now, and we have your car washers really being good fathers. We have all these people throughout our culture and time who have tried to make a clay figure of what a black man is supposed to be. 1 week we gangsters and thugs and pimps. The next week, we're doctors, lawyers,
we're all these other things. But the one thing you've never seen us as is just as a man. I'm proud to be a black man every single day of my life. The day I wake up, I'm blessed to be a brother. But when you don't see me as a man, you don't see me, all you see is my skin color, not my intelligence. That is part of the systemic mentality, systemic racist mentality that's been instilled not only in white folks, but in this society, period. So hearing these brothers speak on true knowledge, true facts, I feel the same way. My blood flows through my son because I feel my son. I feel when my son is upset. My son had a breakup with a girlfriend 6 months ago. I checked in with him. How you feeling? I'm upset. Oh, you broke up with your girl, huh? How'd you know? It's just, it's instinctual to some degree. So I don't want to ramble on too much, which I already have. I apologize to everybody. But the bottom line is this, and I'm going to go right back to what this brother said. Black man is God. Black man is God. But Queen Mother is always going to be there for us. And that's our queens. And if we don't protect our queens, we can't never hold our throne. Our throne does not, our crown does not have to be gold and diamond. Our crown is our brains, our knowledge, our wisdom, and we pass it along. It's our lead. Leaders are not born. They're developed. And when they're developed, that person wants to continue that development to spread it out to the people. And that's all we are. Every man, every woman, everybody who is involved with their community in some capacity is a leader. But we have to be stronger. We have to be mindful. We have to be conscious. Sometimes that brother who hustling, selling weed and drinking 40s, he probably using that to cope for the mere fact he don't want to go work at McDonald's. But like the brother said, hey, if you want a job, let's go. Let's do it. I got your back. Let's go. And that's more of the action as black men we need to have amongst ourselves. We got to stop belittling ourselves. We got to stop using this political platform to say we're Democrats or Republicans. You know what? No matter what, your biggest enemy is wearing a navy blue suit, an American flag on his lapel, and he sticks his hands out every time telling you, I'm your friend. It doesn't matter if we Democrats or Republicans, we black folks first, and sooner or later, we're going to have to come together and stop chopping each other down by the kneecaps.
Right.
When you belittling a man. So, I got a lot to say on it, but like I said, those two brothers said a lot, and it spurred me to say what I got to say. And to the queens that are listening, we love you. This is more of Father's Day. I was raised by a single mama majority of my life. My dad is around. I take care of him because he had a major stroke. But I could never celebrate this day alone without not reflecting and acknowledging the single moms who bust their butts to take care of us men, because they sacrifice a lot of the feminineness going against their instincts to tell a man what to expect from one of their own females and what to expect if a woman does this. Expect when a woman what you expect when a woman does that. That goes against a creed of just women bonding with women just to raise a young man. So when the brothers talk about raising a daughter, that blew my mind away, because I don't know how I would ever affect how that would ever feel. But raising a son that first day he was born, I was a new man and never looked back.
Well, let me say this to you, Brother Laurel, before you go, brother. I'm gonna bring you on the second channel, because the second channel I do in a more of a radio style, podcast style. In my second channel, I get a little bit more raw over there. So I have people call in. We do it in that type of style. So I may go live later on tonight on that channel, and I could probably plug you in through the phone call, because I do it in a radio type style, and we can unpack some more of that. I've got brother Ghost here, OG, who I've got to be doing a one-on-one interview with in July, as well as Jay Sean in July, and on this particular channel. But the second channel is another channel where I let people just let it flow. We get real raw over there. So, Brother Laurel, I'll connect with you later on today, see where you are, how you feel, so we can unpack some other things, brother. So I see you in the car right now. You're on your way somewhere.
No, I'm about to go. So what I'm about to go do is I'm about to go give out some sanitary kits to the homeless out here in downtown Oakland. I do that once a month. So I make 50 kits, 25 for females, 25 for males, and it's just my time. I mean, I want to stay on and keep talking, but
well, look, brother,
look, it's time to give back right now. So
right.
I'm heading downtown as we speak.
Okay, are you doing this through an organization? Is this part of 100 Black Men? Part of one of your programs that you're doing, or is this part of what we're doing as Alpha Men?
A little
or
bit
is
of
this
both.
you? A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. What we did with the 100 Black Men, it's the same project, same kid mentality. Something to give back during this COVID. So we're doing so. Roughly, we've given out over, I would say, roughly over 600 to 700 bags to the homeless. And with Alpha, we normally do this kind of project normally around Christmas time to Martin Luther King Day. Me personally, I do it with my son on I would say probably on a quarter basis. It just happened to be the month to do it. He's a young man in training. It's something to help him with a community service because, I'm trying to keep him off that Xbox and that PlayStation.
Right, so, that's the way to go. Right, that's the way to go.
The best video game is the real game. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, look, let's do this. Let's do this, Brother Laurel. I'll contact you later today and we'll reconnect. But once again, remind people of the organizations that you are involved in as you're out there right now in Oakland, getting ready to do something very important. And I got to commend you for that, brother. I got to give you a clap for that because that's really what it's all about. Definitely. So remind people, what organizations are you involved in?
Okay, so multiple hats, multiple organizations. I am a member, one of the newest members of the 100 Black Men of America, the Bay Area chapter.
Okay.
We roughly have over 100 Black men, a significant organization where 100 influential Black men came together to build our communities up and betterment, economic stability. You name it, we work with it. I'm also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. I've been a member of Alpha Phi Alpha for over 20. I just celebrated 27 years in the organization. It's the first Greek lettered fraternity, Black fraternity organization ever created in 1906. Martin Luther King, W.E.B. Du Bois, several other Mayor Deakins. Ironically, Mayor Deakins, David Deakins is a part of both organizations. It's part of the reason why I joined them. And I'm also a basketball coach, AAU coach, and I'm just I'm a Black man who cares first.
Right,
that's the most important club.
Well, I like everything that you said, but particularly people don't realize that Alpha history is Black history because the majority of the members of our organization, they're the ones that created a lot of this history that we read about in the books, like John Hope Franklin. A lot of our members created a lot of stuff that people will be reading about and studying. So fantastic, brother. But with that said, brother, because I know you're out there and about, I'm gonna reconnect with you. I want to thank you for coming on board today, brother, by the way. And we'll reconnect later on. I'll talk to you personally, and we'll see what we can do. So keep doing your thing, brother. Peace to you.
Peace and blessings, brothers. Happy Father's Day. And I got to do what I got to do. I got to keep it moving. So blessings to everybody. And y'all have a good weekend. Be safe and keep yourself protected.
All right, brother. Take care. I was glad to have you here. Peace to you. All right.
Salute.
So that's Brother Laurel. That's Brother Laurel Dean. Oh, let me see. Wow. A lot of fantastic brothers on this panel. D. Durrell, you've been sort of dormant for a minute, brother. You have anything you want to add, or brother Jay Speed wants to add more wisdom? I learned a lot just sitting back listening to Jay Speed today, man. My God, I knew you were a powerful brother, but just to have you on the platform and hear it for myself, that's why I'm looking forward to next month interviewing you, and I'm gonna go real in depth with you, brother. I got a lot of subjects and thoughts, things to pick your brain about. But D. Durrell, anything you want to add before I bring the other brothers back in?
Okay, I just want to say that I think that great topic today to show this, and we're definitely showing the value of the Black man being in the home, the value of the Black man being a father, and how it can transform the community for the better, and having those black men doing this, and also I know that this is counter what a lot of guys may talk about with particular ideologies. I'm not going to give a name on YouTube per se, but there are there's a lot of rhetoric that is anti-black father or anti-black family.
Mm-hmm.
That's on in these particular spaces. And the fact of the matter that you're doing this and you're talking about the importance of the black father and Father's Day and so forth, it shows that in our community that there is a significant number of black men who value being a father, who value the transfer of legacy, who value, being a role model and being a teacher to their family and so on. So, and I'm just happy we were able to discuss that.
Well, let me ask you this, because you have a background in psychology and these things of that nature, and I do, but I like to pick your brain about this. What do you think is happening to the psyche of the black man when I gotta say this? When we look at someone like George Floyd or Rashad Brooks, it seems to me, Brother D. Durrell, and even with this whole Black Lives movement, and I've had a chance to look into it, and it ain't what all of us think it may be, because
Exactly.
on their website, look, let me get raw with it. I should probably say this for the second channel, but let me just keep it 100% real. Black Lives Matter movement, which was created primarily, is being led by women who have an alternative lifestyle. And they have been writing and making their name off the backs of black men that have lost their life due to police violence, police brutality, whatever we want to call it. They've been killed by police. They have written black men's back. And then when I go and look at their website, and they have nothing related to black men or the black family. However, they have everything related to alternative lifestyle. What's this whole thing? All this rainbow
Gender
bright type
fluidity.
stuff. Yeah, gender fluidity. They're even telling you point blank, black man. When you look at their site, they're telling you point blank that this is not a movement about you per se. In our bylaws and our writings, even though we're going to ride you when you die. And I look at that and I say, wow, are we being duped here? Are we really being duped here? And then I have to say this to you, D. Durrell, from a therapeutic point of view. Why is it that people only give a damn about black men and celebrate our legacies and who we are only until we are dead? Our own community does it to us, and the larger society. When we're dead and gone, now everybody wants to make a celebration out of our life. But when black men are here and alive, what has Black Lives Matter or any group done to celebrate black men that are alive? We want to celebrate these brothers when they're dead and make noise about black men when they're dead. But where is that same energy and intensity when it relates to black men that are alive and doing productive things? Where is that at? I'll leave you with that.
Okay, so it's a question. It's a very good question, very loaded question, and it's one that needs to be. It's good. It's good. We could break it down, but it's something that needs to be assessed and talked about, and we need to have intellectual discourse in regards to this. And the bottom line, BMT, the way I look at it, we have been conditioned as a people to worship the black, the death, or to immortalize the death of our strong black men. This was not always indicative of black people, until after the civil rights movement. Not until after the civil rights movement, in my estimation, that we began to immortalize the dead and to have this sense of celebrating their death. Notice, celebrating somebody's death does no good if you're not going to necessarily follow and follow and do the things that they're doing while they're alive, But the bottom line is that this is something that we have followed and have been conditioned and taught to do by our oppressor. and what they've done, and this is the trick that they use from a psychological standpoint. Let's look at this, because see, that one of the biggest lies and one of the biggest miseducations is about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King is, to me, is one of the most misunderstood black figures in American history, or black history. Because see, when they talk about Martin Luther King, all you hear is "I have a dream, I have a dream." But see, there are untold speeches that Martin Luther King had, where Martin Luther King sounded as militant as Malcolm X. You never hear about it. Okay? They also don't tell you the fact of the matter is that, they think that black people, like a lot of black people, just easily followed Martin Luther King. The problem that one of the biggest adversaries that Martin Luther King had was with the black church, especially at the beginning, in the late 50s, early 60s. There were preachers who hated Martin Luther King. There were preachers that did not like when Martin Luther King came to their cities. And one of the reasons why they didn't like it is because Martin Luther King would come to these cities. He was raising a lot of money. He was making the people aware of a lot of different things. He was riling a lot of black people up, and he was giving a lot of black men courage to fight back opposition. But then after he left, there was no continuity and continuing his work. So then when Martin Luther King left, a lot of white people began to do a lot of things against black people, violence-wise and so forth, and they lacked the organization to continue the work that he was bringing into that particular city per se. And so, again, they give us the trinkets, such as, okay, we're going to make it a federal holiday. Then we're going to memorialize it, and we're going to create these monuments. We're going to give you your money for libraries. We're going to now make it a day that everybody has to be off. And then now, as you can see in a lot of cities, you have white people trying to commandeer Martin Luther King Day, and they're making money off of it and commemorating it and changing the narrative about Martin Luther King. And so this it goes into the fact that we are being conditioned as a people, because we have to quit wanting the validation of who is great and who's not from other people, particularly the very people who actually killed him, and the very people that when he was alive they didn't like him. And that's just the honest truth about it. And so, go ahead.
But my question, I agree with everything that you said. You laid out great points, but again, I'm observing and I'm watching what I'm watching, and I'm saying to myself, what about when black men are alive?
Okay, and let me get to that.
When you name Dr. King, once again, we worship these men when they are alive, when they're gone.
Yes.
And then when they're alive, as we do with many black men, we find ourselves at where we don't appreciate them until they're no longer here. And we do it even in our families.
Yes.
Oh, I wish Uncle Charles was here. I wish I would have spent a little bit more time with Uncle. Well, you knew Uncle Charles was on his last leg, and you never visit him. And then you start saying, I wished I would have recorded him because he had all this family history in his brain. He was the griot, but now his griot oral tradition is gone because you did not record it and pay attention to it when he was alive. Excuse me, brother. I'm on one right now.
Oh, it's okay.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Okay.
And brother Ghost, you got to get in on this too. You got to get in on this too, BMT. And we got my man Huey in the house. But go ahead, D Darrell.
Okay. I really wholeheartedly think that, in particular in our community, because of being a black man is such a very difficult thing to navigate. There are so many different things that go against us, and that I think that within our own group, we're going to be we're for some reason, from a psychological standpoint, we're underappreciated and in so many different spaces that we see what they're doing, but we don't necessarily take advantage, and that's something to the fault of us. For some reason, from some standpoint, we basically don't cherish what we have, like you kind of talked about, until it's gone, and that's just something psychologically for us. we have to relish the moment while they're here. We have to take advantage of that particular person while they're alive and not look at the fact of what they're and you know, another thing, I think that it may be tied to BMT. I also think that it is also related to the fact of, and I'm not trying to put a wrench, a monkey wrench against Christianity, but it also has that same perspective. It's a Jesus complex, you know, that we've also been conditioned through Christianity, because it's the same mindset. Jesus, the same thing happened to him according to the way it's taught in the Bible and the way black people have been conditioned to worship Jesus, and so on. And so that same mindset towards a man that was seen a certain way till when he was alive, and then we have this whole thing, particularly within Christianity, we seem to relish the person not being alive, and moving on to whatever place they're supposed to be afterwards. You know, and I just think generations of having that mindset, and then we seem to value the person more when they're gone. It's the same ideology, that the same mindset we use toward Christ, that Christ complex. I just think that it has something to do with the with the level and way we were taught Christianity, how we taught to worship, and so forth. And for any figure of change, just like he was, we seem to use that same mindset in relation to them, as far as valuing them more when they were dead as opposed to when they were alive. Now, I want to also kind of, you know, I don't want to hog the mic or nothing, but I also wanted to touch a little bit on the Black Lives Matter thing. And to me, this was something that we were just talking about. Me and BMT we just did some content on this stuff. We were debating about some things in regards to this and so on. And so I do think that Black Lives Matter, again, as I talked about in debates and so on, and as I was talking to other people, we have to follow the money, man. And black people are going to have to be smart about this. And again, as we talked about yesterday on BMT's channel, this has nothing to do as far as an indictment on the LGBT community and so on. But we cannot allow other groups that we know are for us to commandeer our needs and so forth, or our even if they're black, to commandeer our issues for the benefit of themselves. And so, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that the same game is being run down. How one of the ways that they destroy or try to destroy and distort our image is when the system is able to get to our women. And if they can work on the emotional sensibilities of our women. So when you look at Black Lives Matter, it's pretty much led by women. And what they do is they throw them a couple of bones, throw them a couple of cornbread pieces.
Yeah, George Soros.
To entice them. So they're being betted with money and all these things that get them excited, where the logic now has to come in. And that's where we as black men use logic, and you say, okay, he or she who is financing my black, or what I think is a black movement, if we're not financing it and it's someone who we say could be our enemy, then who do you think controls the movement? He or she who controls the purse of that movement. And if George Soros is engaging in what we call social engineering, and all he has to do is get black women excited by financing an organization, and then those black women who live alternative lifestyles can now bring that lifestyle and other things into that movement, when actually from the very beginning, it really was never about black men. It was really about that particular movement that's happening now. It was about the alternative lifestyle movement altogether, being co-op under the name of Black Lives Matter. So if we can get all the black people to buy into that, because it's about black, and the thing that's so sad, and like I said, is that when you look at their documents or their website and their rhetoric when they talk, there's very little said about black men until one of us are dead. So it's almost as like black men have to be a damn sacrificial lamb
for their cause.
For their cause, and not only that, if you look at the history of this country, black men, we have always been used as a sacrificial lamb physically and symbolically. That's just how I feel about it, brother.
Yeah. So
Yeah, man, I agree. Oh, how you doing, brother? How you doing? What's up, information, man?
Hey, what's going on? It's brother Huey in the house. What's going on, brother? Thank you for coming upstairs.
How y'all doing, man? Y'all brothers is going in, man. I was just wanted to add in on a little bit, a couple things if I could, man. His brother was making some good points when he was talking about the death of how we praise the dead. Or in the black people that say, you know how I look at the black situation, right? This is one problem that I think that's plaguing us in our community. You feel me? Because we'll attach ourselves to anything that we shouldn't be attached to, just like gangs, nonsense, or even being black. If we can use ourselves and we are truth speakers and we are all out here looking for truth, black is something that we shouldn't attach to ourselves as a skin color or none of the facts. I mean, because if you look at it, if I look at you or your skin color, don't nothing about you or your skin say black to me. If we was just talking about the color of skin, right? So black means to be lacking. B-L-A-C-K is being a lack. And our people, we don't never want to be our own. We don't want to own up to our own. We can't even tell our own story because we just don't want to be our own, which is being brown. B-R-O-W-N is be our own. If we can start being our own, we can tell our own story. We can start owning some of our own things. But being that we being black, we lacking all of these things. We lacking everything. It's just like this, even the dead, right? We don't even want to vote for a president that we live in today, but we value dead presidents more than we do with the ones who live and say. It's like we think that we got to have dead presidents in our pocket to get ahead in life when we got a head on our shoulders and we in life. What's wrong with us?
Yeah, information, man.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. Go ahead. Most definitely.
Let me go straight into the source.
Go ahead, brother.
Being a little diplomatic because you got this channel up versus your radio station. All right, let's go straight to the source.
Okay, brother. Right. Most definitely.
Straight to the source. All right. All right. This is Black Lives Matter. What we believe in. Now this is gonna shock a lot of you. This is their web's page. I'm on it live right now.
Yes, sir.
Let me go down a little bit. Let me just stroll down a little bit. Now this at the title. This is what we believe. Now I'm strolling down. All right. And I'm gonna stop right along in here. All right. Now you think about all the movements that we went through. And they putting our movements in the back of their true agenda. So let's see what they're trying to do. Now, let me highlight this.
Yes, most definitely, brother.
Okay. Now I'm gonna highlight this. I'm gonna go back up there and listen what they say.
Okay.
We are self-reflecting and doing our work requiring to dismantle cisgender. Now, anybody look up the word cisgender, you'll understand that's the gender you was born in. They want to dismantle it and uplift what? Black tranny folks, especially black tranny women. They're trying to replace you, woman. They ain't just trying to replace men. They're trying to replace you.
Right.
They want to dismantle.
Absolutely.
You see this for your own eye. This is on their website.
You're right, brother. And this let me just add this too. What I notice about black women, biological black women, is that they have relationships with people in these alternative lifestyles. So you'll have a gay friend, a gay male friend. You may even have a transgender friend. And your transgender friend wants to be a female or wants to be called a female, and you'll say girl this and girl that to them. You'll even say the same thing to gay black men, black women, and this is where you fall short. Don't you know that gay black men and the transgender individuals out there, they want what you want. They want the straight man. So they're actually your competition, believe it or not, when it comes to getting a mate or a man. They want what you want. So you're also hurting your own, and you're hurting yourself black women because they are your competition too.
All right, and let's don't let this day go by without having solutions.
Right.
You see this picture I got up right now?
Yes, sir.
That's a black man holding his black son or daughter hand. And when you don't do that, you end up with that picture at the bottom with the child crying.
Oh God, yeah. That's right.
Hey,
So
hey, pardon me. May I ask you a question, bro? May I ask you a question while you're going on with your presentation? Because I love your presentation. I don't want to intervene in nothing, but I'm really I was trying to prove a point with us as how you say that we are black, right? You steady saying black people this and black is this. I want to ask you. Hold on, no, let me. I just want to ask.
Hang on, brother. Now let's look. The bottom line is we know that these are social constructs, brothers. We get that. We get it already, brother.
I just want to ask a question though. This is a good question.
Wait a minute. We got to go one at a time. So let's just do this because I don't want anybody's points to be lost here before we end this program. Brother Huey, say your piece, say what you want to say, but I have to have Brother J Speed complete where he's going because he's saying something very significant to us. Go right ahead, brother.
I just wanted to ask a question.
All right, let's just let J Speed finish where he was going, and then we'll come to you, Brother Huey. I think that's the best way to do it right now. Go ahead, Brother J Speed.
Well, this is my solution, and this is why I say let's don't let this day end without having solution. First thing we need to do is change the narrative. I don't care if you want to use Brown or whatever, but my thing is we are people who've been traumatic all over this planet. Why not we use what we are, Africans? That's number one. That's the way you change the narrative. How about African lives matter? Because we're speaking to the world. We see uprising all around this planet. And it just, a lot of people don't even like the word black because there's no really geographic area says that this is a black country. But there is a continent that says Africa. So that's where I was going to, how you change the narrative by taking that power away from them. Black lives, it matters, because that's their slogan. Has nothing to do with us, really, other than they using it as a tool. And think about this. Why is it the Supreme Court, at the same time that we're going through this movement, gave them assessments and gave them benefits right in the middle of what we're going through now? So let me just get back to the solution. Then,
Right. That is true.
That's facts.
Let me just get it moving until I'm telling you, because the spirit is moving me right about now. And I want to help young brothers out there. Young brothers, if you are in a relationship and you have a daughter or a son, and you are having a problem with the mother and balancing out the parenting of that child, this is what you can do, because we got to stop using the excuses that we was pushed out of the house, or she don't want us to be involved, or we can't use them excuses anymore, because I'm going to give you some secrets. When you go to that court system, the first thing they do is get you into mediation and try to solve the problem. This is things the lawyers won't tell you. So the second thing they do, they evaluate you and that child reacting to each other. They'll send a professional to each person's household, and they'll see there's maybe an hour or 2 hour appointment, and they'll see how you and the child react to each other. That person that the court had appointed to evaluate you two parents will be writing what they seem to be the best interest of the child. And they'll send that report into the judge. Now, the judge usually read that report way before you come to the courtroom, usually a day before you have to go to court. Now, what you don't want to do is when that person come to your house, it start talking about how bad the other parent is. What you do want to do is talk about the best interest of your child, what you want to do with your child's life as far as education, career, sports, events you want to take that child to, why you're reacting to your child. Now she has to write that in her report. What you don't want to do is go to the court that next day and then start attacking the other parent, man or woman. But we're going to just consider this as Father's Day. We're going to talk about the males now. You don't want to go in there and start attacking the female parent of that child, the mother of your child, and start telling about how bad she is, whatever. The judge hear that all the time. He's already don't read the report. And if you said them things while that person was evaluating you at your home, that person has already told the judge and let the judge know that you're not a good parent because you are downplaying the other parent's lifestyle or whatever, and you are making the child turn his decision towards you and by degrading the other parent. So when you go in that courtroom, you want to go in that courtroom with a parenting plan. You don't even have to have a lawyer for this, people. I got my child, and the mother of my child had a CPA and a lawyer, and I beat both of them and walked out of that courtroom with my child. So these are the things you want to do, the best interests of your child, because that's just what the lawyers, this is what the judge want to hear. He wants to hear your parenting plan, not how much you have against the mother, because he know you must have had something good with the mother you laid down and slept with her. So he don't want to hear about your personal experience. He want to hear about the rearing of the parenting of that child. So you focus on that child. Don't even mention her name if you don't have to. You just go there and say, this is what I want to do with my child. And even if you don't win physical custody, you might win 49 and she have 51. That means your child support payments going to be very low at all. It might not come out to be nothing but like $20 because you're spending 49% of the time, physical time with your child. And even if you have to have your mother help you and assist you, or your sister help you assist you, try to get as much as time you can with that child, and that will cut down on the child support payment. This is how you win, man. Don't let people tell you not to go in that court system, because if you don't go into that court system, everything she's demanding on them court papers, she will win, because you're not there to represent yourself as a parent or even a caring parent. And so you don't get mad at the court system. That same law is there for her, is there for you. And another thing we can do as black people, African people, whatever you want to call yourself, Israelite, Muslim, FOI, whatever you want to go by, we can change the narrative to this, because the Black Lives Matter is kidnapping our movement, and they're trying to kidnap it from the young people who are out there who are not even involved with black, because they just look at it as a slogan. They don't understand, as long as they keep repeating it, that makes the Black Lives Matter movement bigger. So these are some of the things you can do, young man, to make sure that you have the importance and as far as parenting your child, and it won't end up with this baby crying at the end, because that baby needs balance.
Right. Let me see, as we get close to the conclusion, Brother Huey, you wanted to make some statements. I think what Brother J. Speed said was a hell of a right on point. If you don't go to court and get that 50-50 custody, do something, then you're leaving it all up to the court with the woman of your child, the mother of your child, their ex-wife, whatever you want, whatever she is to you. You're going to leave it up to the court along with her to dictate the terms of your child support, of your situation. And then you're going to end up getting on these platforms saying, well, brother, did you get involved? Did you take action? Did you strike while the iron was hot? He's absolutely right. Brother Huey, you wanted to complete what you were trying to say earlier?
Yeah, I was going on somewhere else. I really wasn't even talking about that, but he was hitting on point. But I would give the young brothers a little bit more advice as well, because I've been with mine I've been with my wife for 19 years. You know what I'm saying? I got 6 little ones. You feel what I'm saying? And they all by her. So like, I would tell them to use their head and not the one that they was trying to make the kids with, right? Mm-hmm. First of all, and just have a better relationship and know what you're dealing with, period. So you can work it out and you wouldn't have to have the court systems involved, period. No matter what you're doing, don't be such a fuck ass, so-called black ass nigga, pardon my French. You feel me? Well, you can't even go across the bridge and deal with your woman no more and have a relationship with you and your kid without somebody overseeing you and telling you how you need to act or raise your little one. You feel what I'm saying? That's the advice I would give the little ones. You feel what I'm saying? But then all, like he was saying, how Black Lives Matter is still in our movement. That was my whole point. Like any of these brothers out here with this black and go figure, Huey P would be saying this, right? A brother who represents, he was down with the so-called Black Panthers, right? But I would say, you know, just to stop pushing this black and white issue, because this is what they trying to make the fight about. They not trying to make us realize what this battle is about. It's the people against the system that's trying to control your mind. Because it ain't the so-called white man, it's the government that is governing your mind. This is what this is about. See, we fighting a whole different fight because they got our mind stuck in between this checkerboard life. This is the whole Masonic replayed. You feel me? This is why they use the checkerboard game, because they got you stuck between black and white, and the only thing that is black and white is paperwork. Facts.
Well, it is facts that when you break down the word government, what that means, it is about control, one having control over you. And I get where you're coming from there. I think it is a checker. I think the government plays chess on us, and a lot of us are playing checkers. While they're playing chess and moving the board around, creating the social engineering, creating the hate towards one another, creating infighting within our group, divide and conquer, having us point their fingers at this person, that person, when we need to look in the mirror at ourselves and say, what is it that I can do to make a difference, a change in my life, my family's life. It comes down to the individual making some changes, but we need a collective of people working together, because I am, because you are, and you are because I am. We still have to have the collectivism. And I just think, Brother Huey, and I have to leave you with these words, brother, is that I get what you're saying about the whole black and white thing, but this is where I differ. Black people in America, as of right now, we need to be, I'm tired. This is a time for us to be tribal. As black people who have lineage to this country, this is time for us to be tribal amongst ourselves, to come amongst ourselves and to focus on what we need for solutions, because every other group in America has tribalism when it comes to what is best for their culture, their Norways, their four-ways, their religion. Everybody. Black people are the ones that's been in a rat race trying to be accepted by this monster, trying to be all we can be, and all of that kind of stuff. Now,
I agree.
Okay,
but I'm saying we should be tribal, information, man. I agree that we should be tribal. But what I'm saying is we need to stop attaching what they gave us to attach ourselves as, to be claiming ourselves. Now, we was colored people. Right.
Part of reclaiming yourself is we must first identify who we are, have knowledge of self. And once we can identify who we are, our culture, our four ways and Norways, and who we are, and have pride in who we are, collectively working together, then we can break away from all of these things that are coming down from the outer system. The reason why we're impacted by the outer system, brother, is because black people, we're so spread out all over the country. We're here, we're there, and we're so mixed up. You say people talked about religion. I do believe what D. Darrell was saying.
Yes, they lacking their own truth. I agree, bro.
Religion plays a role.
Is lacking in their own truth, bro. This is my point. Information, man. This is what I'm saying. I agree with you. But us as so-called black people, we be lacking in our own truth. And we will look at the truth for the fact, right? I can look at truth and we can say that we are here looking for truth and we are here searching for it and everything, right? But then we can look at this man's D. Darrell logo and it got red, black, and green on it. And then I can look at you on this screen and I can still be like, we will not just, it's like it's a fight for us to say that we're not going to be black. Stop calling me a black man. It's like telling the officers, look, man, I'm tearing this ID up. I do not want to be considered a black man because black is a lack and this is nothing that I own. I know who I am. I'm trying to be my own. I'm telling my own story. Literally. It's like, man, when we all agree that we are not black no more, we ain't African Americans. We didn't come from Africa. We was in America, so-called America. If that's what y'all telling us that we is. So we not from Africa. And we in life. We are all in life, and there's nothing wrong with being tribal, right?
Brother Huey, I'm gonna say this, and I gotta allow Brother BMT and D. Darrell to make their last statements for the program. But let me say this to you, brother. As whether we call ourselves black, whatever we want to call ourselves, humans, whatever. this is the thing. I know people get into the Aborigine talk, but check this out, brother. You know as well as I know what dark matter is. Black people are from all over the goddamn planet in the universe. So therefore, when they do digs and scientists go into places like what we call Israel, and they do digs here and there, they always come up with black bodies all over the goddamn planet because we're from all over. So yes, there were native black people that were already here, and there were some of us that came from the continent, some that were already here. We got black folks all over the goddamn globe. We're from the whole damn planet. So that's why I don't need to get into those debates, because in a nutshell, brother, black people are all over the planet. You got the Aborigine over there in Australia. Black people are all over the goddamn
man,
planet.
But not black. My point is they not black. Now, check this out. Information.
No, because people didn't call themselves black. They went by tribal names. I get it, brother. I get it. I get it, brother, and love you for that. Hey, brother Huey Newey, I'll have to get you on the second channel, my radio style show, because I go more raw, like you're going raw over there. Well, I'll be in contact with you now. Let me go over to BMT and D Derail. BMT, if you're still there, brother, make your because I'm gonna end up having, unfortunately, end the program, but I want you brothers to get in your last thoughts and words about really what this is all about, which is black men being fathers. Now, whether we want to call ourselves Moor, whether we want to call ourselves Aborigine, I don't give a damn. I'm a goddamn enlightened being or some shit, whatever. Okay?
Yes, Lord. Yes,
I'm an enlightened being, whatever. Give me your words, brother BMT.
Well, I just want to say I'm just a black father. And I understand my set purpose, and that is one of the things that a lot of men search for. They're trying to look for something to said believe in, and they try to hold on to something because we've had a lot of things stripped from us over the years. And I will tell you, sit down and think, and focus on your goals, and tell those close to you, if not yourself, what do you set out to do and be. And as I started doing that, there is, like I think a brother said, there is no blueprint to being a father. There isn't. I wish I could tell y'all there's going to be an easy day, or we're going to have that it's never hard. There's going to be some heartaches. There are going to be times where you might just lose your loved one, or you lose your family or divorce. I think in my time, I've lost 2 children. So I have 4 children left.
That's right, brother. You I don't want to unpack that because I know that's emotional, but you did mention about losing. And that's another thing that's different for you. I don't know if any of the other brothers up here have lost a child, but that's a whole different dynamic when you are a father and you have lost a child. I don't know what that feels like. I would never want to know what that feels like. And you have talked about that before. That's a very emotional. I don't know what I would do, brother BMT, if I lost
my daughter. I know, and I pray that I don't want no man to go through that. It is a very excruciating pain, and that's why I don't look down on fathers that even lose it, to have their child not even in the home. You know, a father there's no type of feeling that I don't think any of us could understand or express. When we first see our child breathe into the world, and you can palm your child in your hand. And I'm pretty sure all the way to OG and all of us, we all remember that one feeling. It was something that, it was just like a universal feeling where you felt like I am truly at the top of the world. And now these little eyes are on me. And so we have a sacred duty that, regardless of what people will tell us, that is honor and bloodbound given to us by divine life. And we have to just stand tall in who we are. You know what I'm saying? I went to my son's grave at my for my birthday. The night after me and OG had our debate,
Mm.
and I sat there with him and I talked with him, and I make sure every day I keep on saying, how can I protect the lives that I do have. So I live not my life for me, but for my children. So that way, when it's my turn, I can I can rest and they can go on. I don't ask for them to do nothing back, give me anything back in return, but put a blanket over my body and turn off the light. And so this is something that a lot of us men we do have to do, and we are sick. A lot of men out there are sick and they're hurt. That's why a lot of young men and boys are lasting out the way they are now. They're scared, and it is a scary thing going into the unknown. But I can tell y'all that you're not alone. You got 5 men up here that will tell you that we care about you and that you're not alone, and that if you do reach out to any man that is literally within his square, he will sit down and talk with you. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I have to say. And also I have respect for the mothers that they did what they had to do. I'm not trying to say that they daddy, but I understand that some people didn't have that choice as mothers. They just like I don't have. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here,
Mhm.
and so I respect the mothers that didn't bash the fathers, even if they weren't doing right, and that's not an easy thing to do. And I respect the fathers that literally stepped up and had to play daddy, even though there wasn't a mama like OG had to do. We
Okay,
have a lot of sick. Yes, sir.
BMT. You heard the question that I had for D. Durrell. Do you think that too often we celebrate black men in our culture? Too often, when black men are no longer physically here in the physical body, even though we know the spirit moves on, but do you think too often we resonate too much in the dead and not the living, or our concept of living in this third dimension when it comes to
Yes,
black men?
we very interesting. We celebrate the death of a black man more than we celebrate the life and living of a black man. And it's something that is more so celebrated. That's why if you got to pay attention to all the stuff and the religion and the symbolism and also the music. It's more so like we celebrate a death culture. We celebrate a
Yes,
death culture,
right.
and in the eyes of the black man, and I know we all heard this. The only time a black man is valuable is when he's dead, and so it seems this is why now the new generation of black men that are coming are living their lives in the fast lane. If I shall die, I shall die, because we're not finding a reason to live and to live for. My purpose, my life is to live my life that my children may have life, and
You're
we don't
borking.
cherish life enough.
You're borking just a little bit, brother. Just somewhat borking, or whatever we call that. You're sounding robotic a little bit. But
I do apologize, but
oh, okay. You sound better now. Go ahead. Finish your point, brother BMT.
yeah, we don't revere or respect life enough, and so that this is why we enjoy the enjoyment of destroying and berating the character and the death character of the black man or the black father. But the black father is the root. He's the root of the tree that goes up and makes life. We sow the seed, make life, but we seem to celebrate the death of the tree of the legacy.
Right.
There's not that many of us here on this continent, especially on this one. And so as we start to fall and die, I never seen so many people so willy nilly like to walk over the bedrock of let a black man die. People show up. Let a black man push for the encouragement of life. You probably might get 5 or 10, 20 people in the room.
I'll give
So
you a perfect example real quick. You take a young black male who's doing well in school, right? He's doing well in school, not in any gangs. He's not an athlete, so he's not being showered as an athlete, but he's simply an academic, right? Doing well. Maybe he plays music, maybe he plays a little ball on the side, but he's got himself together. And when he is celebrated by maybe a small number of people in the community, of his family, mother, father, but just a small number, which is what matters. But the larger community may never shower him as they may shower the guy that can play basketball. And I know this is no disrespect for those of you that were athletes. I know Brother OG Speed was an athlete. I was an athlete in school myself, but what I'm simply saying is, oftentimes when our young black men are showing examples of greatness, sometimes he may be celebrated by only a few.
I think this is why, and this is why I try I try, you try, and a lot of us brothers here, a lot of I know you get this a lot. Y'all don't take no stance, or y'all too flip floppy, or what's y'all stand? I'm like, as a black man, I have to cherish and be neutral and be mindful of every step I take.
Right.
And because we see how society or the media is turning our women from us, turning our children from us, they're trying to separate us. Something out there, info, that is trying to separate us from what is ours. So that way we will just depend on that said system, but not off of the system that you and all of us we can build.
Right.
Mind you, we build a said system for our people.
Mm-hmm.
But they make sure that they're taking that said one power that you can and do have away from you.
Yes.
So we got to be very mindful. I don't depend on nothing else. I you know what I'm saying, and I pass my time. I look for
BMT. Thank you. I want to say thank you for being here, brother.
always. Always.
We'll have to do it again. I know, and tell everybody where they can find you again on your platform. I know you do the power where you bring people, professionals on your channel to talk about a lot issues like this, but people who actually have skin in the game. I get one of the things I get sick of, BMT, is listening to people who talk about issues like fatherhood, and yet they're not a father, never been married, have no skin in the game. They have no one to be responsible for other than themselves. I get sick of that.
And thank you for that. And always you can catch us on Sundays around 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. I know the people on the West Side, I think you're only 3 hours behind us, so you're down 5 usually I usually have the same brothers that you see here. We're all set professionals in our set skills, as well as we have set professional women up there, and we have discussions on power, building a family, community, scholastics, everything all the way down to law. And it always amazes me that when you get these set professionals and people to come down and we speak about power, it always amazes me how people try to pick it apart and say, well, I'm like, I don't get it. We get these people. It's hard to get us together and not argue. I think they just used to see this fight and dysfunction. But everything that we speak about every Sunday literally is something that actually is attainable, and literally you can have it done. You can actually have it done. And I think tomorrow we're going to be talking about how to acquire set tangibles in 2020 that we need to start acquiring. And I look forward. I'll be sending you
You brothers all that's going to be head off by D. Darrell and myself. We're going to be talking about set tangibles that us as black people we need to start setting forth and going for. And this is going to be a powerful one. Like remember last Sunday they didn't know how to go after when we were talking about the police and different other stuff. That had a lot of people triggered. That when Info and the real Dana and Michelle, a lot of us were talking about. People were a little bit triggered by that. But it's sometimes you got to tackle the hard stuff and literally know where you stand. So that's going to be next Sunday. Info Man, you can always get him there. He goes in very well. D. Darrell, OG has come by. He's spoken on dietary stuff and stuff on. And like I said, it's literally you're watching it where black people, black men, black fathers are literally on code with black women speaking about power. And so I ask y'all and I encourage y'all to come by Business Minded Talk, or also you know me as BFT Black Male Talk, and literally just sit with us and enjoy the show. And if y'all have any requests, you can always email me at blackbrother123@gmail.com. I can always get in touch with D. Darrell or Infoman. I'm always willing to do content with OG, everybody. I'm like one of the most neutral people y'all ever will talk to. Hell, I even give my platform over to the brothers when they come on sometime, and I step off and just let them take over.
Right,
So,
you do
you know.
that. All right, well, BMT, thank you for coming over. What I'm going to
Anytime,
do,
brother.
oh, thank you once again. And let me give you a nice clap there because that was powerful what you were saying. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to take it over to Brother D. Darrell and let him leave us with some powerful thoughts. And then I'll let Brother OG, J Speed, give us the actual closing thoughts of the stream today. D. Darrell, I want to say once again, thank you for coming over. You know, because I know I wanted to do this today because I know tomorrow, you know, brothers are going to be busy with their families and various things of that nature.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming over, brother. Go in
Yeah,
on
no
it, bro.
problem. Anytime, man. Anytime. So just to kind of close out, I mean, again, you know, I like the fact that you do these particular topics, and I understand, you know, like, you know, sometimes the most unpopular topics are sometimes the best topics that really need to be talked about, you know, and in our community, you know, there is a great deal of there are not enough good fathers, and the fact that we show a model that goes against the grain or goes against what's being marketed throughout social media, mainstream media, and so forth, it shows the fact that there is a certain percentage of black men who actually give a damn about being fathers, who actually are being adequate fathers. And I just think that if as long as we're visible and we can show an alternative to what's being given, that you know our community has a chance. And so you know, again, you know, and it is incumbent upon us as black men who have families and have kids and so forth, that you know we seem to whether it's intentionally or not, we tend to look at things from a family perspective, from because of the responsibility that we have, and having that responsibility of having children, family, and so forth. It can change, it can somewhat change your mindset as far as how you navigate life, how you look at things, and so on, because you're looking at the fact that even your own social behavior can change because you have children, because you want to be a model to them, you want them to follow your lead, you want them to if you're going to preach a certain type of behavior, then you also have to have the ability to also practice that, because for the most part kids, for the most part, they like to model what you do, not necessarily what you say. So that's something that definitely fathers have to be definitely mindful of. You know, we have to continue to reinforce as being black fathers that we're strong, that we can be consistent, we're decision makers, and we can change the narrative of the image of black men, and it starts with each black man doing so for his particular kids, for his family, and so on. So I just wanted to close on with that, brother. I appreciate it. I definitely enjoyed the interaction with everybody that was on here. Information man, brother OG. Definitely, I always love your commentary. and info. I look forward to interacting with you in the future.
Okay, brother. We'll talk. I've got many more topics that I'll be calling on you, brother, to come on board and give us a piece of your mind on. Thank you once again, D. Darrell, and enjoy your time with your family. Enjoy your evening. Relax. You've been on here for a while, brother. Get a cold beverage. Get something good to eat. And I'll be back.
Hear you.
Yeah, I might come back on tonight on my second channel and do a live YouTube podcast, or I might just use my other. I have a lot of options of platforms that I can utilize. I would implore D. Darrell. I would implore you and encourage you to create yourself a podcast that you can deploy, because there's a lot of people who like to consume content by just listening to it radio style. So I've got people who follow me all across, who listen to my actual podcast in other parts of the country, in other parts of the world, who only listen to things on Spotify, SoundCloud, those sort of platforms. And then I do something on the second channel, and sometimes I'll port some stuff over, some stuff I won't port over. And actually, the beauty of one of the beauties of Yard Streams, if you don't know, is that you can record the audio as well as the visual of this right now. And you can actually, I have a system where if I can port it this right now, I can port this into my system, break it down and feed it into that system and put it on other platforms so other people can digest it on other platforms. So you'd be surprised. I would encourage you to consider that, especially with the kind of work that you do, brother.
Yeah, definitely. I've been thinking about that. I'm trying to look at a certain way of kind of making it differentiate between the YouTube stuff that I do. But that's definitely something I'm kind of looking at and exploring. Though I appreciate you for bringing that up.
Yeah, because what I do is most of my content on those platforms are different from the YouTube material, but occasionally something like this, I've got to put this on that platform because I think this is very powerful. So it allows you to mix, and it allows you to mix it up a little bit, and it's a whole nother audience, and sometimes you can blow up in a different area.
Yeah.
Then you might be a more smaller YouTuber on YouTube, but you might be bigger in a podcast platform for whatever the reasons are. I mean, like for example, like today I didn't do this, but if I go live on Periscope and in my Twitter, sometimes I get better views on my Twitter, and I'll look at the numbers and I'll be like, damn, I had 400 people watching me live or coming through watching for a little bit. I'm like, damn, that's pretty good on top of the views that I'm getting. So different platforms will bring you different audiences because everybody consumes their information in different ways. So consider that.
Okay, definitely. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right,
brother. Well, I'm here with OG. I'm going to let OG bring us home, brother. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am going in July. I will be doing a one-to-one interview with this brother here, where that will allow me to ask him so many topics, to pick his brain. I know he's saying that he's getting ready to get the hell out of America. I want to pick his brains on those issues too. Brother OG J Speed, I want to thank you for being here today, brother.
I want to thank you for inviting me today, and it's been very inspiration for me. As you can see, this is me 30 years ago.
Hey, you look great. You look great, man.
And this is me 30 years later. So
okay, maybe I have a chance, brother. Wow, look at you, muscular and everything. Look, maybe I might have a chance. Look as good as you at 60, because believe it or not, brother, I'm 50 years old, and sometimes people don't believe that I look my age. So maybe I have a chance, brother. Maybe I have a chance.
So I want to leave y'all with something. Regardless of what you might be going through in your life, you got to remember something. OG be keeping. I've been doing this ever since 1976. I started off in radio back in 1976. Radio station WGIV, Charlotte, North Carolina. The first black woman on radio was called Hattie Chatty out of WGIV. So I've been around some great people. But I want you to listen to this as we go out, people. because ain't nothing gonna stop us now. You know what I mean? Because I can read that. And so what I want you to do is think about everything that was said here today. Thank you for coming through. Information Man can the only one who can bring this to you the way he brings it to you.
BTO Radio.
You gotta get all of it and know all of it. Because this brother do his thing. You know what I mean? And when you understand that all the people out there who listen to the show now and in the future, that this is a very special occasion where black people got to take the initiative. This time is now. And I want all black men to think about this right here. And I'm going to cut the music down for that. I want you to think about something, black men. This is going to be nice, short, and sweet. You got the gun. The lady got the bullet. Now, you can make all the money you want to. But if you got a gun out there and that's what you're using as tactics and you ain't got no bullets to go in it, you done lost the battle before you start.
Right.
Don't you forget that. You are the gun. You are the head. But she got the bullets. And if you trying to raise a family without her, you done lost the battle.
Right,
and so
brother.
all you people out there who might be listening to this now, again, thank you for coming through, because there's 1,000 other things you could be doing. Give Information Man all his props and thank him for bringing you this type of content, because this is not what you're used to in these type of spaces, because there's so many negative brothers who will try to lead you down into that path and try to tell you how to be a father. And just like I said, they ain't even got a dog at home. If they do got a dog at home, they can't even tell the dog how to eat. You know,
Right.
the dog isn't listening to them, but they get on here and holler. And I'm glad that for us to close this out in a positive note. Whatever you want in life, you can be your own architect and you can build your own world, regardless of what religion, what you call yourself or whatever. We are tribal and we moving all in the same direction. Don't worry about what you difference in, because you know what, we can iron that out once we get our objective. We can have them discussion. And thank you again, my brother. I salute to you, and may we have more shows like this.
Oh, yeah, brother. I'll be bringing you back on for many other upcoming discussions. No doubt about it. I should have done it a long time ago. So we'll get it going, and we'll get that one-to-one interview in July. I'll send you the email so we can plan a date and time that works for you, because there's so much more that I want to pick your brain on, and so much inspirational things that you speak upon that I want everybody to hear. So I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to really promote that up, get the crowd in here for that, and I look forward to it. So, brother, you have a good evening, a good day, the whole 9 yard, brother. J Speed, good to be here with you, brother. Peace to you. Peace, brother.
Thank you again.
All right. Thank you, brother. Thank you. So, everybody, that was the man himself, brother OG J Speed. Let me put some respect on the name. OG J Speed. Check him out. So coming next month, I will be going one-to-one with that brother. I'm looking forward to that. I want to thank everybody that's been hanging in there with us this whole day. I know it's been a long day, but you know what? Father's Day is special. Let me let you know what Father's Day means to me in short. Father's Day for me, personally, is inspiring because as a father, it is my job to set the tone. It is my job to guide my son, my daughter, to guide them under principles. What is more important, your principles or power? Principles are very important. Quantities, qualities, all these different things are quality is more important. My job is to instill values, character into my child so that hopefully when I'm no longer here, they will carry on with the values that I've instilled in them that will transfer to their children. As a father, it's my responsibility to protect my child, my family, my household. As a black man, as a father, it is my responsibility not to have any excuses. Excuses are tools of the incompetent, and those that use them seldom succeed. I, as a man, must be responsible for my actions. I, as a man, must strike where the iron is hot. I, as a man, am responsible for the nurturing and raising of my child just as much as the mother. I, as a father, have to set the example by not my words, but by my actions. There are plenty of black men out here who are, and I had some slides that I wanted to put on the screen while we were talking today, and I was having some problems getting those slides in, so I really wanted them to be a part of the presentation of this show today. But there are many black men who are taking care of children. They are getting up in the darkness of the night, doing their daughter's hair, their son's hair, getting them off to school, making the food, the lunch, the breakfast. There are plenty of black men that are doing everything that they can to be in the life of their child, whether it be going to the hospital with their child for appointments, dental appointments, as I've done, going to school, being involved in school activities, sports activities, social activities. There are lots of black men. If you look in the description of this video, it talks about the fact that there are a lot of black men that even if they're not married to the mother of the child, there are more black men that are involved in, that are more likely to read nighttime stories to their child, that are more than likely to be in the life of their child in every step of the way, from hugs to kisses to supporting them, patting their child on the back when they're doing great things. There are plenty of fathers like myself that are working with their kids when it comes to their math, their arithmetic, their English, their writing. There are many black men that are at the kitchen table late at night and early in the morning working with their kids on their lessons for school. There are black men who are separated from their child for whatever the reason due to child support issues, who want to be in the life of their child, but family court has got them all messed up. There's a narrative out here that black men do not take care of their kids. That's not true. There's a narrative, and let me read this, which is on my screen. You've got 42 million black fathers, or about 59.5% of in the lives of their children. Black men are in the lives of their children. There's a fake narrative out here that tells you and me that black men are not. Of course, you've got the knuckleheads out there who are not doing what they're supposed to do. But you can't judge all of us by the few out there who are not taking care of their responsibility as a man, as a father. If you lay down with a woman and you have a child, then you automatically have a responsibility. If you do not go to court and strike while the iron is hot and get 50-50 custody of your child, and you allow the courts to make a decision without being there to argue your point, then obviously the court is going to sway in the favor of the woman, and then you end up having anger and animus towards that woman because everything was stacked against you. But if you didn't participate to make sure that the system didn't run you over, then you're gonna be crying the blues. If you didn't take the time to get 50-50 custody of your child, if not full custody, you're gonna be crying the blues. If you sat back and the mother of your child, the ex-wife, whoever she is, has full custody because she went to court and you don't have full custody, guess what? You're going to be, whatever comes down the pipeline, you're going to be the victim of it, whether it's more child support money here, there, what have you. There are a lot of fathers out here who are under child support and can't even see their children. That's a problem. I would say to the women out here, don't do that to your child. Don't use child support as a way to manipulate the man and then turn around and hold the man from not allowing the man to see his child. You also have men out here who are paying child support, and for whatever reason, because the woman has the majority of the custody, the man's paying his child support, and the woman a woman, not all women do this, but a woman or some women may play the games where you don't still let him see his child, or you don't let him see his child enough because you're mad at him. If a man has moved on from the marriage and the relationship, and he has another woman or another wife, and maybe he has a family, another child with that woman, you don't have a right to use the child that he had with you as a pawn to manipulate him because you're jealous because he's moved on. Certainly when you have moved on, you don't want him in your business. Your job is not to be in his personal life. Your job is to make sure that that man is there for that child that you had with him, and that, of course, he takes care of his child financially. That's the responsibility. Once your relationship is over, it's over. Move on. Don't hold on. Don't create animosity. And I would say to black men out there who have children, and you're not in the life of your children, and you don't even take care of your children, I have to say that you would be what I would call a poor example of a man. If you have a child and you have a job and you're making money and you don't do anything to take care of that child, then you are not a man. And I would also leave everyone with this, that not everybody is fit to be a father. Not everybody is fit to be a mother. Thank you for being here today, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the basics. Brother Ghost, Omega Dreads Gaming Channel. Everyone that came in today, I appreciate your contribution. Now I got my man Keedy is in the house. Let me mod you up, brother. This brother right here, let me put him on the screen. This is another brother that I'm going to get on my show very soon. Let me see if I could find him in the chat room real quick. He's in the house here. I just modded you up on this channel. This brother right here, he says, greetings, information man, to your guests. It's always a pleasure to hear good brothers at the round table. Yes, I would love to have had you on this round table. And this is a brother right here who has a fantastic channel. I will be interviewing him at some point soon. This brother is a author. He writes books. He gets into the sciences, the health, energies, vitality. This brother's also a Pan-African. He talks about Africa, and this brother talks about creating your own garden, growing your own food, organic food, living your best life, proper diet, proper attitude of mind and body have to be in alignment and in balance with each other. So I am going to get him on this channel, promote it up to get a lot of people over here. And I want you see him in the chat room, write his name down. We call him Brother Keedy on his channel. Write his name down. All of you that are in the chat room, write it down so that you can find his channel in the search engine and subscribe. This brother has a fantastic radio program. He's on YouTube, but he also broadcasts through Blog Talk Radio as well. I learn a lot when I go over to this brother. Says that we need to stop being all scared about this COVID-19, this boogeyman virus. He's written books on this. He has a book out right now you can find on Amazon called Panic. It's talking about coronavirus and the BS around that. I remember hearing him on his channel say that we need to think about diet, fortifying our diet to fight against these so-called viruses. And they're using this pandemic to scare us, to boogeyman us, to also socially control us. So I can't wait until I bring him over and talk to him about his books and his books on proper vitality of one's body. This man loves science. He can break down the cells in the body and all the things that are happening inside of you. So I can't wait to get Brother Keaty over on my channel. Peace to you, brother. I'm glad you showed up today. I'm about to end the program. With that said, everybody, thank you. I am the Information Man. Remember, I have the second channel, which is Information Man Speaks Podcast. I'm giving you a disclaimer. That channel is more raw. You all have seen that I have a different format over there. It's more of a radio style program where people either call in or I put you on the panel, but it's radio style. And the conversations are more raw and in your face. So make sure you subscribe to the Information Man Speaks podcast. You can also hear me on these other podcasting platforms. Here we go.
The Information Man podcast can be heard on 9 major platforms. On the second YouTube channel as well, Information Man Speaks podcast. Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Castbox, SoundCloud, and finally, Spreaker.
Thank you, everybody.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information Man
Tell
Show.
the truth. Tell the truth.
Do you want truth?
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
If you don't want truth, this is not the channel for you.
Tell the truth.
A clap to everybody who came in today.
In the White House. I'm not gonna say his name. Jack Lake Preachers.
Tell the truth.
If you want truth,
Tell the truth.
the Information Show is the place for you. Truth.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make
We're
sure
trying to examine, open up one's mind, and understand the shit that's happening in American society and around the world. Information Man Show.
information is power.
We got to ring the bell to wake the world up.
Information is
Tell the truth.
power.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
Yes. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
In the White House. I'm not gonna say his name.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
We will make America great again.
You need truth.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
That's right. Truth. This is the Information Man Show.